probably like the exact pace that you'll run, maybe plus 5 or 10 seconds per K. Just getting used to that pace. It usually is about 5 or 10 seconds slower actually, but it's around that effort. And then just like go from Reedy's often put in like 3 times 7 minutes, and then it will go to 8, 9, and then you just do a whole half an hour, and then sometimes longer if it's especially if it's an Ironman. And I feel I've run the best off of those preps where I've done specific pacing, and haven't gone as well on harder running paces where which I'm not going to actually run in the race.
It's really interesting, Steve, because all the data would say VO2 max and zone 2 really works well for getting your run going. But I'm exactly the same. I would always run best after several weeks of, especially just that little bit below anaerobic threshold. I feel like pushing it up works a lot better than pulling it up, like working above it. I think the key difference there is your risk of injury is a lot lower too. And you can back it up. But I used to, especially with Matt Dixon, I used to really extend out those sort of threshold sessions, and it worked quite well. So, sometimes you read all the studies and I'm like, yeah, but I just see another way working way better in practice. So,
and it probably doesn't affect your bike legs as much if you're running at a slower, but it's close enough.
Yeah, there's something about, not forcing it too. So that 5 seconds or 10 seconds per K, because it's right on the cusp of what's hard and what's just quite comfortably sustainable but solid, there's a fine line there. And you see it even when you look at lactate and carbohydrate metabolism or whatever it is. It's certainly not linear. It goes to a certain point, and then there's a 5 to 10 seconds per K range that can make all the difference between being super stressful or stressful but absorbable.
The Ironman specific run that I actually adopted from you giving it to me, Reedy, way back when, is like the overspeed into Ironman intensity. A little bit less. Like, I think it puts everyone's ego in perspective a little bit. Like, they go and run probably a bit harder than they should through like say maybe a 6K at like 10 to 15 seconds quicker than Ironman pace, and then just a couple of K reset, and then actually try to dial in your Ironman intensity. That's probably my go-to session. And then for 70.3, Rick, so I like standard 2Ks on very short rest, because most races are 2Ks between aid stations. So you can just kind of stop, hydrate, stay on top of it, and go again.
Yeah, just to expand on that first one, in terms of the physiological benefits of that session of going over speed and then into specific, a lot of it is to teach people, like sometimes the reason I do things is to teach people why they shouldn't do that in the race. Because suddenly then going to Ironman pace after doing 7 or 8K well above pace, they realize, oh shit, this Ironman pace is so hard after doing that. So it's almost there's benefits of doing the session, but a lot of it's about like, this is why we're not going to go out and do that in the race. It's important, especially with blokes who ego just gets out of hand, including myself every time I race. So it's that's part of the reason is for coaches who are like, why would you do that? It's like to teach them a lesson.
Yeah.
So.